Good evening. We'll call the Thursday, July 18th, 2024 Town of Rome Board meeting to order. Roll call starting on my left, please.
Evenson here.
Minter here.
Jumati here.
Gabriel here.
Certify the posting of the meeting, please.
I certify that on Tuesday, July 16th, the agenda for the Town of Rome Board meeting was posted at the Rome Town Hall at 2:17 p.m., Quick Trip LLC at 2:42 p.m., Nakusa Port Edward State Bank at 2:53 p.m., and emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune at 2:32 p.m.
Thank you. I'll ask for approval of the agenda with the removal of item 14. I'll explain. It's a little premature. The recommendation did come from the Plan Commission for approval of that proposed amendment. However, we don't want to cause any confusion as that amendment won't take effect with the new ordinance until January 1st of 2025. So we're going to ask that we postpone that to a later date. So if someone could make that motion, please.
Move to approve the agenda with the removal of item number 14.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Minter for the approval of the agenda with removal of item number 14, second by Supervisor Evenson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pledge of Allegiance. Citizen comments. We do have one orange card this evening, so I'll proceed with reading item number 6, citizen comments. During the citizen comment period of the agenda, the town board welcomes comments from any town resident, not a member of the town board, on any item not on the agenda. Please know that pursuant to state law, the board cannot engage in conversation with you, but may ask questions. The board may refer the item to staff, a standing committee, or a future board agenda for discussion and action. Each person wishing to speak will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Speakers are asked to submit a card to the clerk treasurer providing their name, address, and topic for discussion. The board will also take comment from the public on agenda items as called by the chair, but not during citizen comment. Please note that once the board begins discussion on an agenda item, no further comment will be allowed from the public on that issue. Okay, we have a Mr. Doug Bell. Okay, 649 16th Avenue on short-term rental implementation. You want to come up, please?
Hello, testing.
There you go.
Okay, in 2022, I sold my properties that I had in Milwaukee and bought a bunch of properties up here in Adams, and one of them happens to be in the town of Rome. And I put into the short-term rental program, and it didn't work for me. And so I winterized the property and decided to do something else with the property. When I got my packet in 23 to renew, I didn't send it in. I'm not renewing short-term rental. And July 26th, I was in Kentucky. My brother was diagnosed with brain cancer, and I got a call from a Linda from your administration. It might have been Linda or a Lori. I think I wrote down Linda because I was keeping
It's
notes.
Linda.
And she said, are you going to renew? And I said, no, I'm not going to renew. We have to notify us of that in writing. And I said, I don't have to notify you of anything. I've read the state law and I've read your ordinances. I'm telling you now, I'm not renewing. I'm not renewing the permit. I didn't send it in and send it $800. On August 21st, I received a ticket in the mail from a Sergeant Catherine Jasson. So on August 22nd, August 21st, I called the police department and left a message to have her call me. On the 22nd, she called me and she asked me what it was about. I said, you sent me a $250 ticket for short-term rental. I said, did you go to my house and knock on the door? No, I didn't. Did you drive by my house and look at the house? No, I didn't. What violation of the local ordinance am I in violation of? I don't know. I was told by the administrator, I was sent an email by the administrator to send you a ticket. I said, is this normal business in the town of Rome to have administrators sending out emails to send tickets to owners of properties? And she said, do you want me to call the administrator a liar? I said, the only contact I've had from Rome is on July 26th, whether I was renewing or not. Yes, they are a liar. The conversation went on, and I finally asked her if this was Nazi Germany in 1935. We seem to have a very cordial relationship between the administration and the police department. By the time the conversation was over, she couldn't apologize enough. Very nice conversation. I said, "Are you going to take the ticket back?" She said, "I can't. You have to go through the process." So I sent a letter into the court saying I was not guilty. Got it, and I told her I want to see the judge. I got a letter back saying that on November 20th, I was going to I had to talk to the town attorney. I called him and I said, "I want to talk to you. I want to talk to the judge. If you're going to have Gestapo tactics out there, let's see what the judge thinks about the government wasting my time. Having to go through this process for a ticket on nothing I did." And he said, "Will you explain it to me?" I said, "This is what happened." He said, "I'm going to dismiss the ticket." He dismissed the ticket. I want to say one thing. Nowhere's in the state law or the ordinance does it require me to notify anyone in writing. It requires me to fill out the permit and send an $800 check in. That's what it requires. The town of Rome implements short-term rental to the T. They're the toughest there is. Rightfully so. They have the ordinance, they have the state law. But then they gotta follow the law too. They don't sink the police on somebody because, and think about this, folks. I never got a phone call. She never went by the house. I just get a ticket in the mail. And then on top of it, they sent it to my old address in Milwaukee. If you go to the Secretary of State, the house is registered with the Secretary of State with the proper address for the contact. The whole thing is craziness. So I've got some paperwork for you folks. I'd like to give it to you. I didn't bring enough copies, but I'll give it to the board if they'd like. Can I hand this to you? If I give this to you?
Can we accept the paper? Give it to the clerk, please.
Sure.
Give it to the clerk, please.
Somebody needs to investigate what's going on up here. There seems to be an awful cordial relationship between the police department and the town administration.
Can we ask you I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
What was the actual date that this happened?
The ticket was dated, I got it in the mail on the 21st. I went to Milwaukee on the 21st.
The date, the year, the date?
October 21st, 23. The reason I haven't been here is my
Wait a
brother.
minute, just, please, sir, let me just let me write it. You said October 21st of 2023?
August 21st of 23.
August 21st
Yes.
of 23. And we've changed our process since then, okay? So that was dated, okay.
The ticket was dated 8/15/23, and it says, on Sunday, 8/13 at 23 at 5:34 in the afternoon, you are in violation of short-term rental.
Okay, that's what I needed. Thank you very much.
There's
August
a copy
20,
there for you.
thank you. Did anybody else have any questions for that gentleman?
In the, I
Only
don't,
questions, no conversations, only questions.
No,
though.
I have no questions.
All right, thank you. I mean, I didn't want to cut you off, but if you have a question, Cheryl,
It's
please.
actually a question about the ordinance, not to the gentleman, though.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's something that,
Did you want to, can she, or that would not,
I guess if it's a clarifying question,
is there a
Nick.
cancellation process written into the ordinance?
there's not. I believe we have a process that we've refined for the renewals to make sure that this kind of thing is caught
Okay.
and doesn't get caught in the future, or it doesn't happen again.
Okay, so currently there's nothing, no wording for cancellation at all, okay. Thank you.
thanks, Cheryl. Thank you, Nick. Okay, anyone else? Okay. Right. Moving on, no action contemplated except possible referral to future agenda. Number 7, information updates, meeting recaps, recent correspondence, current events and announcements. I was gonna go first this evening, if you don't mind. The first one, I want to let everyone know that I did sign an emergency declaration with the emergency management director from Adams County based on the storm this past weekend due to strong winds, possible tornado, and heavy rainfall. From that, she's still assessing the damage in the town because there was actually quite a bit, primarily on the east side with the Lake Arrowhead golf courses, the campgrounds, some near the lakes, homes on the lakes, that sort of thing. So due to that assessment, they're going to continue assessing that damage, and so that we remain eligible for any possible emergency funding, we'll have to ratify that emergency declaration at our next town board meeting on August 1st. So that'll be included in our packet at that time, and any other miscellaneous government funding that might be available to anybody that sustained substantial damage. So our emergency management director, again at Adams County, is maintaining and surveying that on an ongoing basis. So we'll have to continue that process to make sure that we are eligible for that. So I wanted to make note of that. So if anybody knows of anything and hasn't been contacted by her yet, she would be the one to contact. All right. Secondly, let's see. Third annual Trails and Tales fundraiser ride will be taking place at Camelot Lodge on Saturday, July 27th for the Partners with Paws service dogs. I know one of our assistants over in the police department has been working really, really hard for that, and I know it's a really fun ride, and they do a really great job for that. Copperbox concert is going to be held at the Rome Town Center Band Shell coming up this weekend, the 20th, from 5 to 9 p.m. There'll be food trucks, lawn games, and Up North Brewing will be having their beer for sale. Proceeds from the concert will go to the library. Our Shermalat water ski team, who I believe was last year's champion, or maybe it was the year before, are going to be competing this Sunday in the Wisconsin State Tournament at Red Sands Beach at Lake Wazeecha from 8 to 5 on Sunday. And then the Rome Fire Department is having their 50th anniversary celebration on Sunday, the 27th, from 4 to 8 over at the Rome Town Center with food and beverages for purchase, 50-50 raffle, yard games, and then there'll be music from 5 to 8 p.m. And then there is also for the last Sunday in July and the August 11th and 25th, they have, Paws on the Patio as fundraisers for your pets. They go to the Rome Dog Park, the Adams County Humane Society, and the Rome Canine program at Hoozles. So they'll have live music, 50-50 raffles, pup cups, and dog park merchandise for sale. So those are some upcoming events. So we'll start on my left if anybody else has anything.
I have nothing.
Dan, anything for the library? I know there's lots of stuff coming up.
Yeah, just as far as the library goes, just please check the library website out. There is a number of events still left going on this summer. I know the summer reading program has been very, very popular. And the Friends of the Library are hosting their Christmas in July on the 24th. Check the website for the time because I don't remember what the time is on that. But yeah. And then for Parks Commission, information will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. On the 15th of August, right at the start of the board meeting at 5 p.m., MSA will be here and they'll be presenting an informational meeting for public input on the master concept plan for the Rome Town Center Park. So they have the drawings done. We'll be getting the drawings out on the website. There will be boards at the farmer's market and here in the town hall, probably at the library as well, so that you can see what they envision our park could look like. That does not mean that that's what our park is going to look like, but it's a concept, it's a vision. And on the 15th, they'll be here, they'll talk about it. We'll have some time for any of the members of the public that can come and share to do that. We'll have an online way to share your comments if you're not able to be here in person. So that's on the 15th of August.
Did you want to share your 19th meeting too about the corp
Oh yeah,
update?
19th of August, thank you. At the 19th of August at the regular Parks Committee meeting at 5 p.m., they will be presenting the draft of the revised comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, or CORP plan. And again, that'll be a public input session, so public is invited to come and share their thoughts on that plan. And they don't have it in its final printed form yet,
It'll be shared that night.
but so the final form will be shared that night. So okay, read fast. That's all I got.
I have one, Tuesday, August 20th. Information should be out next week. We are going to help Adams County Humane Society. We're gonna have Papa's Putting for Paws. That'll be happening August 20th. Stay tuned to visit our own website and all the other Adams County Humane Society website for registration. All proceeds will benefit the paws down at Adams County.
The other Jerome's going to the dogs this summer.
That's awesome.
Alrighty then. All right, number 8, department and committee reports. Do we have any questions or comments on any of the reports? I actually have one. For the visit room one, there was a report on the Tri-Lakes update from Supervisor Gabriel about the nano bubblers and the alum funding. And I'm wondering if you could, on a regular basis, maybe start bringing those reports to town board as well, because that would be quite helpful.
Okay.
Because we haven't really gotten those in the past, and it would be helpful, especially with this particular item, to know those things.
Yeah.
That would be great. Because I read it there that, the legal counsel had, we didn't know that until we found out about it, and then the second vote was being taken, and then that the alum funding was being transferred until the meeting yesterday to that project for the nano bubblers, so that would be helpful if you could bring that here as well, so we can stay updated on that.
Sure.
That would be great. Thank you. All right, any other questions? All right, moving on. Discussion and possible action for the following items. Discussion and action, approval of the July 2nd, 2024 and July 11th, 2024 meeting minutes.
I move to approve the meeting minutes from July 2nd and July 11th as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Evenson, second by Supervisor Gabriel to approve the meeting minutes as presented. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action. Checks, vouchers, receipts, and journal entries. Approved checks number 46504 through 46585, totaling $167,832.20. Auto payments totaling $81,433.28. State Social Security Medicare withholdings totaling $37,314.40. Payroll vouchers V22211 through V22347, totaling $106,618.58, and checks 21675 through 21679, totaling $1,449.28. Receipts number 25702 through 25783, totaling $173,077.64.
Move to approve the checks, vouchers, receipts, and journal entries as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson to approve the checks, vouchers, receipts, and journal entries as presented. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action. Consideration of Apache Avenue culvert replacement bids and petition for Adams County culvert aid.
All right, you'll see in the packet tonight, there's a memo that on July 9th, we opened the bids for that Apache Avenue culvert replacement. Lowest bid was Hig Contractors, $218,595. So it's a recommendation tonight to award that to Hig Contractors, and then also assign the petition that we will turn into Adams County Highway for the possible 50/50 aid on that project. We will not get reimbursement until after the project is done, but we still need to submit it now so they can start to budget for it.
Could you repeat the amount for me, please?
Yep. 218,595. 218,595.
Thank you.
Do you want the county share too, that we would be reimbursed, or no?
You wanted it here.
The county share would be $109,297.50 for reimbursement. 97.50.
Thank you.
Move to approve the bid by Hague Contractors for the Apache Avenue Culvert Project for the amount of $218,595. And also move to approve the petition to the Adams County for up to 50% match on the road expenses, which would be then in the amount of $109,297.50.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson to accept the bid that was received by Heeg Contractors in the amount of $218,595, with the county share, hopefully, of $109,297.50. Any more discussion or questions?
Yes, I have one question for Brad. On this sheet, item number 7, the 60-inch custom end walls, are they both the same? Because I noticed one bid was over double that price. One person has 11 something per side, the other one's at 25. Did you catch that when you were looking through it? What's the difference?
Yep, we actually called both contractors, and one is looking at doing a precast, and one was gonna do a cast in place.
Thank you.
And the cast in place is obviously cheaper. than
Okay.
what the-
I just
I'm sorry,
noticed,
cast in place is more expensive than the precast.
that's all I noticed that jumped out at me.
Yep, no, I saw it too right away, and,
Yeah,
Is
it
it-
was,
That's what put them different. That's why
Yeah.
I was just,
yeah.
okay.
yeah. I had a question too, but I wanted to ask. This is all based on what General Engineering had proposed a year ago when we looked at the work that they were gonna do, right?
Yeah, they prepared a plan for this project and all the
Right.
bid documents and everything.
So this bid is based on that plan that we approved last year,
Yes.
correct? Okay, thank you. All right, everybody have their questions and any other discussion? Cheryl, anyone? We're all good? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Brad. You got one more? You wanna just stay up here? I think you're next. Oh.
I can present it.
Okay, all right. Discussion and possible action, recommendation from Parks Committee to authorize the purchase of trash cans for the band shell area.
So at the Parks Committee meeting this past Monday, the Public Works Director presented some evidence and information that we need to have additional trash receptacles, particularly in the area of the band shell and splash pad. And his recommendation to the Parks Committee was to purchase 8 additional trash receptacles from Uline, which is the same company that has provided the ones that are currently located by the gazebo, so they would be matching in style on there. And they cost $1,050 each, so 8 of them would cost $8,400. Plus postage if they charge us postage, but Uline does a lot of things with free shipping sometimes. So I would move that we approve the purchase of these trash cans for the band shell splash pad area.
Do you wanna do it for an amount not to exceed, or,
Well, for amount not to exceed $8,400 plus any needed shipping.
okay?
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Gabriel for the purchase of trash cans for the band shell area in the amount of $8,400 with any additional funds for shipping. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, discussion and possible action. Recommendation from Parks Committee to authorize the purchase of 14 autumn blaze maple trees for the Rome Town Center Park area.
Again, this was discussed at the recent Parks Committee meeting, and it is to replace 4 of the dying trees that are in the vicinity of the splash pad, as well as put in 10 new trees, sort of in a curve around, following the walking path sidewalk, that is, on the west and sort of south sides of the band shell area, to eventually, when the trees grow up, provide shade for that area from the evening sun in particular. So I would move that we would approve the purchase from R&R Tree and Service LLC in the amount of $17,960 for the purchase and installation of these 14 trees. They'll be about 2.5 inch size trunks, so they're larger. The company recommended the larger size trees as they are less likely to become deer lunch when they're of a larger size. And in case anybody's curious, these monies that we're talking about from the parks budget, these are all included in what was in this year's park budget for amenities and features at the band shell area in that, so.
I'll second that.
Yeah. Did you want to do it in the amount again for the?
I thought I said
Oh, he did, okay.
17,960.
So you were just asking for clarification, okay. Thank you. So we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson for the purchase of 14 autumn blaze maple trees for the Rome Town Center Park area in the amount of $17,960. Any more discussion?
I got one question.
Yes.
Was there any other bids on this job? Is this,
We actually take bids,
okay,
because it's under a certain amount, we don't need to, and I did call around to other people, and some could supply trees, some couldn't put them in, some could put them in, and this is one-stop shop.
thank you.
Okay.
That's it?
Any more questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Number 14, we removed for a future agenda. 15, discussion and possible action, community room remodel update. Yep.
I can speak to this. Administrator Lobby asked me to give an update on this because I have taken classes regarding liquor licensing laws that have been changing throughout the state. And there is a law that will change in 2026 as of right now. I actually had class on it today. That will limit the amount of rentals that we'll be able to have that will allow them to have liquor at the facility. It's affecting a lot of communities. There was the one class I went to, the clerks in the room were very angry because it's going to take away a lot of revenue for those communities. But today I did learn in my class that the state is also being sued over this by the barn venues, basically. So it could very well change between now and then, but in the interim, I don't, Administrator Lobby and I discussed whether it was worth spending the money on the room to make it beautiful to rent if we aren't going to be renting it other than for meeting space. So at this time, he is getting bids on updating the sound system in there, and maybe we could paint it to make it a little more pretty. But other than that, I don't know that spending a lot of money in that room is worth it. I know that somebody said we can't change the floor anyways because that will be quite expensive. We can't take the stage out because that will be expensive.
The asbestos.
Yeah. So, maybe at some point we could look at making that taking that kitchen away and making it just a little kitchenette and making that another meeting space. That might be something to look at down the road, but right now it just doesn't seem to pay to spend the money to fix a room that we may or may not be able to rent out in the capacity that people would want to rent it.
Like a party or wedding
Right.
reception of some sort or something,
Correct.
yeah.
More than a couple times a year.
He had also shared that some of the space that's currently in the kitchen or in that storage room back there could possibly on this side eventually be additional office spaces should we need them off this hallway. Or, so like the clerk treasurer Wendy has shared that the biggest thing we're also looking at we're switching over to .gov domain, which we had wanted to do a while back, but now it is underway. We're also looking at some IT updates that are gonna need some money. Our server is gonna cost some money. We're gonna have to look at that as well. So as piggybacking on what Wendy has stated, is that Administrator Labby had also said, with those changes and what she stated, offsetting that offset of those rental fees that we might lose, going to a kitchen that's more of a warming area, and most people are catering now if they have any kind of function anyway. Do we want to spend $200,000 on a kitchen update or that sort of thing with big refrigerators and big stoves and that sinks, dishwashers? Would we be smarter to just think about the IT updates and painting and refreshing the room a little bit more so than what we had originally planned?
So then there would be a process where we could then, if we decided to sometime between now and the end of this budget year, reallocate funds that we had allocated for the remodel towards the IT project or
The sound
other-
system.
The sound system was already in the remodel.
Right,
so
exactly.
That piece would stay, but it would be
Right.
just a piece of the kitchen upgrades
Right.
that would come out, and then we could then use that as needed for those other IT and some other things. Okay. I mean, I think it makes sense.
And he did say that here in his report, in his administrative report, you know, some of that, the Exchange server, some of that other stuff, or maybe he didn't go specifically into he went into the audio system, but he didn't say specifically about the server in that. That was some things he had shared and discussed, but he may have shared some of that with Robbie as well if she wanted to update us on any of that, but.
I didn't know about the server yet.
Oh, okay, well, he did share some of it, but that would be a budgetary item that, you know, if we had to reallocate those like Supervisor Minter has stated.
More than enough money there for a server.
Well, this is a pretty big server. This is a big server.
Trust me.
It's an
I know.
older server,
I know.
but,
4 years
okay,
since I bought one, but they were about $7,000 a piece back then.
but,
Probably worse now.
yes,
Question, does this, oh, should I come up? Does these new liquor, rules, would that
Won't
apply
affect you.
to the band shell?
It won't affect you.
Well, no, I'm saying, would it apply to the band shell, renting the band
It
shell?
will,
out?
actually, yes, it will, but it won't
Okay.
affect your events, because you get temporary Class B licenses.
Okay,
So you will
so
be
can
okay.
other people get temporary Class B licenses?
Well, no, not just an everyday person cannot.
Qualifying organizations.
We'll
Okay, okay.
have a talk, I was
Okay.
gonna call you anyways.
Okay,
they've created, yeah, quite a
Yeah.
monster.
Yeah. You're okay.
The barn venues are really struggling.
Yeah,
They're the
really
ones that are
struggling,
suffering greatly from
yes.
this.
Especially in communities that, like us, that don't have any more liquor licenses.
Yep.
Although they did say today, I will tell you that they did say today that if there is no license available, that qualifying event venues can receive a license above quota.
Right, we've always had the ability to issue above quota if we're out of licenses, if there are qualifying
Fine
applicants
events,
that-
yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've actually issued an above quota license, or at least, had conversations in the past about doing so, so.
And is it still limited that we can only go to neighbors that touch our borders, or can we go to
So that goes to the county.
mhm,
So it's
only within
the
our own county? We can't we can't go outside of our own county.
Correct.
But they don't have to touch our border, like we could go to,
That's correct.
okay,
I'll learn about that today too.
I do have one more question.
yes.
So I've heard a lot of talk about a community center between this board, between our board. Would that impact something like a community center?
It- Yes, it would,
Okay.
yeah. Alrighty, did you have anything else on that, Madam Clerk Treasurer?
I do not.
Alrighty then. Nick, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to that, or?
No, only maybe just the general, just to kind of tie that back to some of the things that you've considered in the past and
Anything
seen.
you wanna add?
It's all tied back to Act 73. We've had a couple different matters that had come before us because there was a bit of a segmented effectiveness. You know, so there was an effective date that was very soon, right, for vaping and putting that into cigarette licenses. There was a little bit further out deadline for things that we adjusted in our ordinance with communicating back to us any changes, for example, with agents. We made that adjustment because of that kind of segmented date. And then there are really, I think, two other farther out dates, one of which our clerk treasurer has updated you on. So all relates back to Act 73, and we've seen a couple different matters that have come before us already that we've accounted for and built into our ordinances.
Right. Did you have anything you needed to add, Robbie? Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay. So did any of our supervisors have any questions or anything else that they wanted clarification on, or we're good? Okay. So now, item number 16, discussion and possible action, update on the K-9 fundraising. Sergeant Upton.
Yes, Chief Lobby wanted me to come and speak on the K-9 fund update. I guess off the bat, I don't know exactly what information you all want on it.
Well-
The initial, we've had a couple of fundraisers already. We have donation funds, compiled. That, number comes in at $8,972 as of yesterday.
How much do you have so far?
$8,972.
Cool.
That is both from local businesses that have donated and citizens that come in and just cash donations. The numbers that I've compiled, the dog itself, along with room and board for the canine handlers all on site at Jessiphan Kennels, which is the kennel that all of the local dogs come from at the different departments. So that is $17,000. So that includes the dog training for the dog and the handler, and room and board at the kennel itself.
You said 17,000?
18,000, yeah.
Okay.
How long does that training and everything last?
It's typically 5 weeks. Obviously, that would not include, food for the handler, so feed the handler while he's gone for 5 weeks. I don't know exactly what that would cost, I haven't compiled that, but figure a few more thousand, for the 5 weeks.
It's like $30 a day.
Where's that kennel located? That he'd be he or she would be going to?
That one is, don't quote me, I don't know exactly which town it's in, but it's right on the border of Wisconsin and Michigan.
Okay.
Yep,
Couple hours away.
northeastern, yep. That along with, we already have a vehicle that we could set up that is here. I did get a quote from a company on a vehicle setup for a K-9. That was $18,000. That is if we had, that is if they were to order all of the items that they need for, say, the cage in the back, and the light bar and everything, radios, everything like that. I believe it would be cheaper, just because Chief Lobby knows exactly what needs to be ordered on the squads. He's set them up, all of them in the past since I've been here for the past 9 years. So typically when he orders the product, it ends up being quite a bit cheaper, and that's what he had instructed me as well, is that we could order the items quite a bit cheaper and have the company set it up for us. There's also a yearly subscription for, there's something called Watchdog that has to be installed in the squad car. That is an alarming system that if the squad were to overheat and the dog gets too hot in the car, it alarms the officer through their cell phone, along with another person that they can designate to be alarmed. It also rolls the windows down in the squad car and turns a fan on in the back seat so that the dog doesn't become injured. That's $900 a year. So, also I have on here prices for, and these are just general quotes, We would have to install a kennel at the canine handler's house. That'll be a couple $1,000s, probably 3, I would think, along with concrete and things of that sort. We will have to get a narcotics safe at the police department. Those cost $400.
What, can I ask a question? Not to interrupt you, but when the police station was originally built, was that not one of the items that was originally, you're assuming there'd be larger?
No, this has to be it's not very large. It has to be a
Oh.
specific narcotics case.
Okay,
We have to apply for licenses to have the ATF send us
okay.
narcotics to train the dog with narcotics.
Oh, specific types of narcotics, got it. Okay, so this is a specific
So they
type of
just have
safe,
to be
got it.
stored in a certain safe.
Got it.
In a secure area.
Different than the one we got, okay.
And then along with food for the year, grooming for the year, what me and Chief Lauby had figured is we think we'll need around $30,000 to $40,000 to start. That, I mean, since we've already raised almost 9,000 in the couple months that we've been doing it, I believe that that's 100% doable. And our goal is to completely finance the dog and everything that it needs through donations and funding through
Grants and
whatever
things.
grants and things that we do, yes. There is also a lot of grants out there that I've been looking into that I will be applying for soon.
Sent you quite a list yesterday, right?
Yep, I got quite a list from you. I also got quite a list, just from local residents that know of companies that will donate, like body armor for the dog, leashes, all of those accessories
Food.
that we would need, food,
Vet care.
and vet care services. So there's a lot of help out there for departments that wanna get a canine.
And the reason for that is?
For us to have a canine?
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons for us to have a canine, in my opinion. So we are on State Highway 13. There's, as much as people don't see it, there's a lot of drugs that come in through this town, going to Wisconsin Rapids, going to Wisconsin Dells, going down to Adams. So this dog would be trained in narcotics, and it would be a dual-purpose dog, which is called, it's for, they're trained for apprehension and for narcotics detection. So we would use it for the narcotics detection, also apprehension. Anytime we get in a very dangerous situation, it's obviously safer for the officers to use the dog so that we don't need to enter homes that we could be shot in, God forbid. And it's also great for PR. The county guys do shows all the time showing what the dog can do, what it's trained to do, and along with, I know we had spoke, what, if we were to get the dog, it would be a regular thing to take him to the library for their events, see the kids, and
Just
yeah,
one more
there's-
thing for officer retention and something that,
Right, oh, yes, I mean, to speak on officer retention, that's been a big issue that we've had in the past couple of years. Departments that have canines, there's some officers that get into law enforcement just to be a canine handler. So if we could get this program going, I think it would at least retain one officer for quite some time.
and as far as the commitment from the board, there's been questions about the commitment from this board. I did see that also in the Visit Rome minutes. It said right here under workforce development, that Visit Rome needs to understand the town's commitment before they would release any funding. They did a wonderful walk. That day was absolutely amazing. I participated. I went out with a really large dog and came back with a very small dog. I traded dogs with my husband. It was kind of funny, but anyway, we had fun that day. It was amazing how many dogs came out and people came out. It was a great day. Thank you, Up North Brewing. They did a great job. And so did Visit Rome's putting that together, Lisa and her crew, and everybody that came out that day. But anyway, with that being said, the board had committed to and said that they were interested in doing this. They had voted on doing this. So if the board still, we had made a motion at that time to allow the police department to do fundraising for a canine, and I would think that we still are moving forward with that understanding in that direction. So, I mean, if there's any question to that at this time, I mean,
That was one of my reasons for my asking about the potential reallocation of the funds from the community room remodel.
Right.
I know there are some other uses as far as the IT needs in that, and the canine is as important as the IT, and the IT is as important as the canine is. But there would be that, but that'll be at a future meeting once the
Yep.
administrator gets back
Yep.
and is able to update on that. And then my next thing, but that actually goes to the next agenda item. so.
absolutely, yep. And I
I
could
will-
see where you were going with that as well, and I could see that as well. So, just to reassure people, we had already
Yes,
taken a vote.
We will do our best to find monies to match the monies that have been fundraised, to speed the process of, getting you there, even if it's the, obviously it's about, like you said, top end, maybe 40,000 of upfront costs. Probably less if Chief does his usual due diligence of making sure that we buy what we need and not what people say we want.
Sure, go ahead. I get the 30 to 40 upfront. Any idea, once the dog, everything's done, is it like a $10,000 a year fundraising you think to maintain the dog in shape with food and stuff? Am I in the right ballpark, or?
So, yeah, that's probably close.
Okay,
Uh,
just,
I've compiled some prices that are just estimates, but you figure veterinary services, and these are numbers that I've gotten from Nakusa PD and Rapids PD. They've been doing it quite a while. They figure veterinary services, if they're not donated, which some of them are, will cost about $3,000. And then dog food per year, $1,500 or so, and then obviously for grooming and things like that, you say another $1,000.
yeah, so the 10 was totally a realistic
Pretty
budget.
close, yep.
You're just looking at what you fundraise, it looks like once the dog is here,
Right, there'd be no issue in.
you could raise the 3,000 to 7,000 a year fundraising to.
Absolutely, yep.
That's-
Okay. Did anybody have any other questions for Sergeant Upton regarding the K-9, or, right? Did you want him, Supervisor Minter, did you want him to stay for the next part of the conversation, or?
Yes, would you stay just for a few more minutes? Thank you.
All right. So then we could move on then to item number 17, discussion and possible action. Current status of the community donation fund. I believe Robbie prepared or gave us our, Wendy and Robbie.
Or Wendy
Our-
and Robbie.
Robbie and Wendy and Robbie, gave us a detailed report here with a full description of what we have currently. If you want to describe it to us here. Tell
You want
people.
me to tell you what it is?
Sure.
Okay, so the carry forward from 2023 will be $11,241.74. We all have incurred $838.52 in expenses this year, and we've had $1,720 in donations so far. And actually, there's money that needs to be deposited yet that came in today. So, but as of yesterday, the fund currently has $12,123.22 in it.
So if you want to put that in your minutes, so you have that, that would be great. Thank you.
All right, then I'm up. I would move that the town of Rome authorize a donation matching the Dash for Dogs fundraiser of $4,487 from the CAN fund to be moved into the K-9 fund.
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion by Supervisor Minter, a second by Supervisor Evenson to match the donation from the Dash for Dogs in the amount of
$4,487.
$4,487. Is that the correct amount? Did I get that?
That's what's on here.
4,000?
4487.
Yep. Is that what we had in our, All right. Any other questions or discussion?
And they just say that now we should get a cute picture of a canine to hang out by the can donation bin and saying, your cans will bring this dog here. So that we can convince people to stop putting their cans in the recycling bin.
And
throw
put them in the
can
can bin.
Please.
Yes, please, or in the crusher. I've seen them in the crusher with
The more cans
bottles.
that go in the can bins, the more money we have to fund things like the canine or the other community events that we occasionally provide some funding for. So please don't throw the cans in the garbage, throw them in the can bin out at the transfer site.
Right,
But we are pleased to be able to offer that donation to the canine fund.
Thank you.
all righty. Any more questions or comments? Right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, discussion and possible action. Appoint Lisa Kubas to the Community Development Authority seat, term expiration of May 1st. Thank you, Sergeant Upton. Seat term expiration May 1st, 2025.
You,
I move we appoint Lisa Kubas to the CDA.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Supervisor Evenson, second by Supervisor Gabriel to appoint Lisa Kubas to the Community Development Authority seat, term expiration May 1st, 2025. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion only. ARPA funds expenditure update.
So I can give a little bit of an update on this. Just, I think it's timely because this year is the year that we do have to be obligated out, not expended out, but obligated out. So now that we've got our report in, I can report on kind of where we are with ARPA. Just a refresher, we did receive $288,047.86 for ARPA funds. As of our last report, we do have all of our obligations reported. So we are obligated out, as it were. So that part is good because if we go past the end of the year, we would risk otherwise losing any funds that weren't obligated. In your packets, you have an update on the expenditures. As of our report, so our report was due the end of April. As of our report, we had two areas that were reported as obligations but weren't expended out. As of today, we have everything expended out other than the $1,302, so $1,302.93, which is noted in the report for ARPA as obligated for the zoning code review and update. Although I do note that, those funds are, reflect the report, the designation of those funds when we actually get the quote and move forward with the zoning code rewrite and update is likely going to be more than that. But from an ARPA perspective, all of our obligations are reported. All but $1,302 are reported out as or are expended and will be reported that way when we get that the next year. And then just a refresher that the expenditures need to be done by 2026. So we will need to look at that in the event that we don't have that $1,302.93 spent at that point. We will need to take a look at making sure we do that and how we go about that, because we do need to get that expended out by end of 2026.
And are we still anticipating getting any refunds back from We Energies on the gas projects?
Good question. I think so, yes. And that won't have an impact on our report. So our report isn't going to adjust in that way, but I suspect we will have some kind of designated fund that'll be held in, and you all will have to then decide what you're going to do.
Right, so when if the We Energies money, or when the We Energies money comes back, that then we've fulfilled the ARPA obligation by providing it to We Energies. Then anything that they rebate back to us at a future date just goes into the holding pot.
Yeah, and the only reason I say that there's probably
And
gonna
there's
be-
no 2026 deadline or 2025 deadline or anything on those potential refund dollars that would be sitting there. We can make judicious use of those monies for public projects.
Yep. So, and to that point, the answer is yes, with the only exception that, the reason I say designated fund or some kind of holding spot is because the use still needs to comply, I think, with ARPA use.
ARPA.
But just remember that we did
Yes.
general government services, the loss of revenue, election, and so that can cover a wide range of possible expenditures. But that's why I said, we'll likely hold that in some kind of designated area, just so we can make sure that we aren't, potentially spending that for use that wasn't ARPA eligible.
And I do believe we had an ongoing commitment, as long as there's opportunity to continue expanding We Energy gas lines throughout the community, and that money would last us with those ongoing projects, we would continue to roll it over for those projects. So that would stay in that little bucket of, if you call it a bucket of money, to do that and to keep extending those gas lines. And as long as we would accrue credits to keep moving that along, we would do that. So that's what that little bucket of money, so we anticipate, don't quote me, but I think even with the credits we have, we estimate, I'm not even gonna say until we have our finance director look at that and just tell us, but it's somewhere between approximately 12 and maybe 15,000. I don't know, based on the last time we talked with Amanda from We Energies and the credits we had coming from previous projects. A newer project was costing us a little bit more than what we anticipated, but it was shaking out right about to that point. But we'll find out for certain, but we'll keep those projects going as best we can. Because the more people that can get on the natural gas where they're expanding, the better it is. So. All right. Any other questions regarding the ARPA? Anyone? Okay, dates and items for future agendas and meetings. Next agenda items, I actually have a number of them. There's a control burn structure item that'll be coming forward from our fire department that Nick and the chief will be explaining to us on August. Yeah, I'd like to back up the clock just a little bit. Summer's going just a little too fast. We'll ratify the emergency declaration for the storm damage. I'm going to ask and invite our county board representatives to join us. Any one of them are welcome to do that. I understand that they're looking at a number of different things. I know a lot of the different county board reps are visiting their town board meetings and giving reports, and I used to do that when I was a county board supervisor for 10 years. And I think it would be helpful to know exactly what's kind of going on with our county board and the things that they've got on their dockets. Their budget's coming up. They've got a surplus in their sales tax account, and see what their plans are for that, and just hear what they have to say on what they're planning coming up as our budget season is coming around the corner. And with that being said, Administrator Laube had asked that we look at our calendars and start planning on 3 budget dates for October and in October, evening meetings. And then I had asked you to each look at what your 2 budget priorities are and are your recommendations. And then also, you brought up something earlier about Act 73 and how that affected this with the alcohol licensing and that. And I had talked to you, this came up last year up in Rapids. They had put some things into ordinance up there regarding vaping and things with Delta 8 and 10. And I want to really bring that forward to our board as more retail places become available and are opening up in our town too. And those are things that might be concerned to our youth and others in our community. So I think that's something that we should bring forward to the board and talk about. So, and then the other thing I would like to talk about is we had a couple of meetings ago, when we adopted this, organizational review summary of recommendations. We had put it to the administrator and his staff to go through, and the staff was to look at what that was that they needed to do, and they've been working on that diligently at their meetings, their staff meetings. But there's also a number of items on here that the town board is really responsible to sustain long-term, for their long-term planning to sustain long-term sustainability. So those are some of the things. We were going to talk about some upcoming training. I know somebody had mentioned that they like to read. Some of those things we can do, but an evening session, even if it's part of a town board, putting some things together. Plan commission training is going along very well. We put out a survey. Lexi and I had prepared a survey on SurveyMonkey. We have approximately 21 attendees from 3 of our neighboring communities that are interested in participating on Plan Commission training. It'll be an evening session, and they'll be joining us. Rome will be the host. That'll be coming up within the next month or two, and we'll put out some dates and the times, and so we're pretty excited about that. And so that was a great response, overwhelming response from them on a number of topics and issues that they're actually faced with as well, with upcoming planning and land use and things that their plan commissions and town boards are faced with. And so, and also with town board training in that, an evening session maybe before or after or during a town board regarding governance, which was part of this organizational review, and other topics. And then we might have some materials for reading. So that's coming along as well. So if we could bring up that as far as the things that we're responsible for on that list. So that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything?
I do, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Don't forget that we do have that meeting will be preceded by the elector meeting, and we will also have an resolution following that will be pending on the approved vote from the electors.
Okay. Do we have to worry about the job description and that night as well, or is that at the subsequent meeting after that?
It'll be incorporated by reference in the
Okay.
resolution, and so that'll be prepared as part of that for you.
Okay. Alrighty. Anything else?
Could we address Mr. Bell's concern with the ordinance? Maybe can we put in some cancellation in there or some way, so it doesn't happen going forward to anybody else?
I think that, yeah, I think that
It
had
won't.
more to do with our internal processes, and we fixed that. I don't know that we have any need or want, under law, we don't have to, and we don't
Okay,
have, we haven't had a requirement that somebody notify us or file something. I think we've got that process resolved.
We ask them to provide it in writing, but if they don't want to, we don't force the issue.
Did you want to ask a question? Can you come up to the podium, please?
What is his position? Because I'm just wondering,
Our attorney.
He's our town attorney.
the town attorney?
Yes.
Oh, you're the guy I talked to on the phone, I think.
I am.
So there has been implementations to stop this in the future?
Can you come up to the podium, please? We really shouldn't be in
That's
discussion
okay,
with you, with the,
During the meeting, he said things have changed. I'd like to know what the changes are.
I can talk to you after the meeting.
Okay.
Chairwoman,
yes.
when we go into October for these budget meetings, if it works for Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm closed after Labor Day, so that would be better days for me during the week if it works for the other people here, Monday and Tuesdays after Labor Day.
Third Tuesday of the month,
What-
not a third Tuesday of the month.
Not for us either. We have plan commission, so you're good. You're safe there.
Safe
You're
there.
safe.
Okay, good.
You're safe there. And what
Plan
about you,
commission,
Cheryl? What's your schedule? Huh?
Plan commission is.
Oh, second Tuesday. Well, can we get through? Let's not rush things anyway, but
Hey, I'm already planning 2025.
I know you are, and you know the Julian calendar by heart, so let's not.
If it was November, it'd be easy, but October's still tough, but we'll just wait.
Yeah, you're pulling boats out of the water, so let's,
Yeah,
what did
there's
you
a lot
say
of
now?
that.
Yeah. How about you just bring your calendars to the next
Yeah,
meeting, and we'll
I
do it that
definitely
way?
will have the calendars.
Or we'll bring it to the second meeting in August, because everybody will be back by then. All right, that sounds good. But bring your budget, think about your budget priorities, though, okay?
Right.
One question I was asked, and it troubles me still, is that timber line. The water main's in, the road is not. And it wasn't budgeted for at the time the water main was put in. So, and we were asked a question, and so, something to think about, and
It's an expensive road, isn't it?
just throwing it out there. But it is what it is, folks. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? All right, if you think about it, just throw it my way, throw it, your way, Jason's way, all three of our ways.
On vacation, so it would be
Yeah,
me.
well, and me. Us, the two of us, just the two of us.
You want our ideas for August 1st board meeting, for the two prior,
August 2nd, for the second meeting.
okay,
Second
Yeah.
meeting in
okay,
August.
gotcha,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so next meeting date is August 1st at 5 PM. Right, or the special meeting is at,
At 5 PM.
Yep.
The town board meeting to follow immediately, correct?
Immediately following, correct.
yeah, all right. Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
You look stressed already, Dan.
Wendy,
Not stress.
what time do you have?
6:06.